Let's go straight to Parliament, where Finance Minister Akufo Addo is about to address the House and give a briefing of the President's recent travels.
Question. The answer could please or displease you or disappoint you, but that is the answer the Minister has to give. You can probe further, and that is why we have opportunity for supplementary questions. And so I did ask whether you have any supplementary question, which you decided to exercise your right to do so. And so the other aspect definitely should not have come in at all. You have the opportunity to make sure that the answer from the Minister doesn't disappoint you. So please, Honorable Blakwa, let me hear you again.
Mr. Speaker, this question, which you admitted, Mr. Speaker, since the 1st of June, was advertised on the order paper of 16th June to be responded to on the 17th of June, a copy of which I have here. On the 17th of June, it was not captured on the order paper. This was widely reported by the media. We were told that day, Mr. Jetro, I can mention his name, the clerk at table, informed me, as is the practice, that the Honorable Minister has requested for more time. That is why it was taken off the order paper that day. So I want to find out, I hope that that satisfies the majority chief whip. These are the facts. Why did the finance minister ask for more time if all this while, several weeks, you duly acknowledged that this question was rightly admitted and it's in your bosom? What has happened? That suddenly we are being told that it's for the National Security Minister to respond to, when all along in your communication with Parliament, in your dealings with Parliament, you have not raised any objection about this question. You have not said you don't have the answers. So it's a legitimate follow-up question based on the facts as has transpired over the period.
Honorable members, let's don't belabor this issue. The Minister says the National Security Minister is best placed to furnish this House with the details needed. Let's pursue it that way. Yes, please. You have.
Mr. Speaker, I want to find out from the Honorable Finance Minister, by way of supplementary question, if this transaction did not go through the Give Me system, which is under his control, and so is able to know all of these expenditures. The Give Me system.
Yes. Yes, Deputy Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I rise on Order 69. Order 69. Yes, it is so. 69. For the avoidance of doubt, as soon as a question is answered in the House, any member, beginning with the member who asked the question, may without notice ask supplementary question, further elucidation of any matter of fact regarding which the answer has been given. But a supplementary question may not be used to introduce matter not included in the original question. Mr. Speaker, on the strength of this, I contend, one, that the question that has been asked with respect to gift mix or whatever as a form of payment was never included in the answer so advertised. Two, yes, that's my application to Mr. Speaker. I am making an application to the Mr. Speaker that your question, supplementary question, is not in accord with 69. So if you gently listen to me, Mr. Speaker can rule. Mr. Speaker, 2, I also contend that the long speeches premising the earlier question which you ruled out is not aimed at doing justice to the matter in issue. Mr. Speaker, supplementary question is very clear, and I've quoted the rules. If my colleague wants us to go strictly by what the rules say, so be it. But if you want to use it to be throwing political punches, you know what to do. You know what to do. You may use another platform other than this chamber, but as far as, Mr. Speaker, the rules provide, I humbly urge on Mr. Speaker that on the strength of this, Mr. Speaker, kindly rule him out of order. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Minister, you may answer the question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm a little about my supposed request for additional time. I'm trying to determine...
Minister, don't refer to that one. Just go specifically to the issue.
Mr. Speaker,
yes.
The issues of gift mix. When we give our quarterly releases for goods and services, etc., it does not really include line items for president's travel, etc., etc. And so we would not have those specific costs coming through the gift mix. And as I mentioned, with the operational work that is done between OGM and the National Security Services, those categorizations are not very clear to us because of the national security implications that I have mentioned earlier on.
Yes, you have a last supplementary.
Right, Honourable Speaker, my final supplementary question. If I heard the Honourable Minister clearly, is the Honourable Minister telling this House that there are some payments that are allowed outside the gift me system? Is that
No,
what the Honourable
that's
Minister...
not what he said. He said they come global as to the details of the items that have been spent on is not in the gift mix. They don't have that details there. That is the answer.
Mr. Speaker, the gift me system, there are line items, there are specific codes for each transaction. That's what we know. That's what we have been working with in this House. So, has something changed, Mr. Speaker?
That is not a supplementary question. You just express your view. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I'll rephrase. Is there a separate gift mix arrangement for this kind of transactions?
Yes, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for this. Mr. Speaker, as I indicated, this has national security implications. Mr. Speaker, there will be, therefore, a general line item for travel and co in the gift mix, in which we do not interrogate whether it's the Vice President or the President's trips. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members,
Mr. Speaker, I did mention...
Honourable Minister, you may resume your seat.
Thank you.
Honorable members, I thought the minister has given clear indication as to where to get the full details of the answer. And I think we should move further than that. Yes, Minority Chief Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with your discretion, some supplementary questions may get us to get the minister to give probably a more detailed answer. And if you are minded to take one or two colleagues on this, it may be helpful. Mr. Speaker, the reason I'm saying this is we have Honorable Akufo Addo, who has been at the Minister of Finance, and is also very familiar with the give me system that the minister is talking about. Mr. Speaker, the National Security Minister, whether he does make direct payments on things that are procured at the office of the President, we have other members that are familiar with us. It would be most grateful if one or two members could be permitted, even if it is one just supplementary question from each of them. That may help us to get some more answers. We'll be grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, the question is not on gift mix system. The question is not on that. Ask the question as a supplementary on what we have. That I will allow. Yes, so if Honorable Akufo Addo wants to ask a supplementary question, why not?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister of Finance, using the Public Financial Management Act 2016, Act 921. Mr. Speaker, the PFM Act 2016, in Section 102, interpretations, interpret minister to mean Minister of Finance. Mr. Speaker, again, if you are to look at the PFM Act, Section 4.1, Mr. Speaker, with your permission, if I may read, it says, the minister is responsible for policy and strategic matters related to the efficient operations of the public financial management systems of the country, subject to policy guidance from Cabinet. Mr. Speaker, the 2 says, for the purposes of subsection 1, and subject to the Constitution and any other enactment, the minister shall, Mr. Speaker, I'm more interested in E, F, and H. And the E says, the minister shall account for public funds through a consolidated public account. That's E. And Mr. Speaker, F goes on to say the minister shall supervise the financial operations of a covered entity. Mr. Speaker, the national security is a covered entity under this law. The Office of Chief of Staff is a covered entity under this law. The law empowers the minister responsible for finance to supervise their financial activities. The Speaker, it goes on in H to say that, H says that, Mr. Speaker, with your permission, it says that manage public funds. So, Mr. Speaker, the law empowers our Minister of Finance with all of this. My question, Mr. Speaker, my question is, based on the Public Financial Management Act, is the minister responsible for finance saying that he could not ask for information since he's the minister responsible, he's the supervising minister responsible for public funds from the National Security and the Chief of Staff's office? That's my question. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable member, clearly it's not supplementary. Clearly it's not supplementary. On issues of supervision and the rest, yes, they are there. But when you allocate money to a ministry, agency, and the rest, there are, as you know very well, some are global figures. And the ministries now spend them on the detailed items. Now, after the expenditure, there's another process to go through before you feed the supervising ministry, Ministry of Finance. Is that not the process? And so the way he submitted the answer, if you actually want the detailed answer now, he says it's with this ministry. If at the end of the day, the budgets come and you go through, you don't see the details, then you can ask him to account. But the way he answered it, he doesn't say he's not supervising them, no, but the details on those things, please, this minister can easily get them for you. So I believe that we should move on and get Honorable Ablakwa. Your no will not stop me from moving on. I want to listen to Honorable Ablakwa. I mentioned his name.
Right, Mr. Speaker, I unreservedly apologize. I was caught in the moment. I meant no disrespect. I'm very sorry. So, no, withdrawn.
No. Yes, he's my son-in-law, so he knows his limits. We have many questions. Now, I want to give to one person the last supplementary question. Yes.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, it is true that the question is not on gift mix, but the Minister for Finance sitting in his office has the authority to query gift mix and get any information about expenditure that has been captured in gift mix. But Mr. Speaker, when you release money to agencies in bulk, expenditures from those monies must go through an approval and a warrant process, and that warrant process commits the expenditure to specific item lines. And so we are not asking of the bulk money you sent to the office of the President, but the expenditures emanating from those monies went through a budget approval process and warrants were issued committed to specific expenditure lines. And once it is entered into that expenditure line, the minister sitting in his office is the only person in Ghana who can access that information at any level of detail. So for the minister to say that he needs to get the information from another ministry, when with the press of the button, you can query the specific expenditure item called travel and tell the details on those travels. Mr. Speaker, I think he's avoiding the question. Did they issue warrants in order to pay expenditures relating to the President? And where was it entered? In the gift mix?
Yeah. Honorable members, we move on to the next question. I'm doing so because I think I was trying to draw your attention to something you are not taking care of. You have processes. You have processes. The processes take time. And reading the answer, he has left those processes in doubt. But he says, if you ask this specific person, he will be able to get you those details there. That is why I'm saying that it doesn't arise. These supplementary questions you are asking doesn't arise. Let's move forward, get the person involved to come to answer the questions and give the details. Please. Deputy Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, with the greatest respect, the Minister of Finance provided an information on who is the appropriate minister to respond to the question. Mr. Speaker, we might go and ask the security minister. He also came and said he doesn't control the budget. He does not control the budget of the office of the president. So I want to find out from the minister. Is the minister saying that the travels of the president are financed under the budget of the national security? Because he says that in the last paragraph, that it says that the president's domestic and international travels are matters to do with national security. The National Security Minister is the best placed to furnish this House with the details needed. The detail we need is the cost of the travel. Is the Minister of Finance saying that the National Security Minister is the one who controls the budget that finances the President's travel? So that when we ask him, you'll be able to provide the information. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Actually, I didn't get your supplementary question. What is the supplementary question?
Mr. Speaker, I'm picking the question from the answer provided by the minister. The last paragraph of the minister's answer says that, Mr. Speaker, the president's domestic and international travels are matters to do with national security. The National Security Minister is best placed to furnish this honorable House with the details needed. And Mr. Speaker, the detail that we need is the cost of the travel. So if he's saying that he is the minister best placed to provide the details, my question is that National Security Minister is the one who controls the budget that will finance the president's travel. That is my question. Is it the National Security Minister that controls the budget that finances the president's travel, both domestic and international?
Yes, Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I did state from the beginning that the Chief of Staff works with the National Security Secretariat to facilitate the safe coordination of the President's travels. So there's obviously interactions between them as to how much is to be spent on that. Mr. Speaker, this Honorable House is also well aware of national security implications of various activities that are done, and that is why they have certain protocols of national security. Mr. Speaker, all things may be permissible, but not all things may be beneficial. And it's therefore always the House knowing what it is that they have to do in camera and what they do not have to do in camera, which leads us to this. Mr. Speaker, I still contend that the best placed person to furnish this Honorable House with the details would be the National Security Minister, in which your answers the appropriate answers will be given. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, we move on to the next question. Majority Leader, is there any issue?
Well, Mr. Speaker, respectfully, you have moved on, so I wouldn't have much to say about it. But I was in the office listening to proceedings. Mr. Speaker, what I got from this, the question is asked of a minister, and the minister says that he is not responsible for it. And he relates to the specific ministry that has the charge for it. Is it the case that that minister has come, has been invited, and the minister is denying responsibility? If that's the case, then we can litigate the matter. But the minister has not been invited. So how can we continue this way? And I heard you rule that, or give a directive that we should move on. Yet your path was crossed to say that we should allow some limited intervention. And I thought that ought not even have been entertained. But
I haven't heard you at all. I haven't heard you.
In respect of?
All what you said.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You are not speaking into the mic, and so you are not audible.
Well, Speaker, the point made is this. Our orders provide in 62(1). Questions may be asked of ministers relating to public affairs with which they are officially connected. Mr. Speaker, that is the essence of my own intervention. You moved, you ruled, or directed that we should move on. As I said, I was listening to proceedings. At a point in time, I heard you direct that we should move on and the question should be filed or refiled. And then an intervention was made against the direction that you provided. And I'm saying that ensuing from this is what I have come to hear. And I'm saying that if a person or a minister is not officially responsible, can this House force that person to be officially responsible? If the person mentioned is invited and he denies responsibility, then the House could litigate the matter further. But the person has not been invited. So what are we doing? The Speaker, that is the point I raised. And I'm saying that I've taken a cue.
Yes, Majority Leader, you are right.
Thank you very much.
But when it comes to supplementary, I won't know what question the person will ask until it is asked. And usually it's proper to give members the opportunity to air their views. When I see it's not supplementary, I overrule it, and I've done that a number of times. And now I believe that we have to move on. That is why I said we'll go to the next question. And the next question stands in the name of Honorable Dr. Clement Apak, the Member of Parliament for Bulsa South. Honorable Member, you may do so now.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Finance if government took a loan or loans to finance the implementation of the free senior school policy.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, government has taken no loan to specifically finance the free SHF policy. Mr. Speaker, the free SHF school policy has since its inception been financed from the annual budget funding amount and Government of Ghana funding sources. Over the 5 years, a total amount of 7.62 billion has been allocated to implement the free SHS program. Out of this amount, 4.18 billion was sourced from Government of Ghana, representing 54.76%, while the balance of 3.44 billion, representing 45.24%, came from APFA. Mr. Speaker, the free senior high school policy education provides free education for all Ghanaians in senior high school to ensure that no child is denied access to education. This includes tuition, meals for both boarders and day students, textbooks, library fee, boarding fee, science laboratory fee, examination fee, and utility fee. Mr. Speaker, student enrollment at the senior high school level has increased from 881,600 in 2016 to 1,261,125 in 2021, primarily due to the free senior high school policy. Mr. Speaker, 5 years after the implementation of the free SHS, 411 out of the 465 candidates who scored grade A in all subjects at the 2020 WASI exams were beneficiaries of the free SHS program in Ghanaians. Mr. Speaker, free SHS beneficiaries constituted 88% of all candidates who scored grade A in all subjects at the 2020 WASI exams. Mr. Speaker, as a nation, we must all be heartened that it has yielded such positive results, thus enhancing social mobility to create a wealthier, inclusive, and empowered society. The green seeds of growth for a confident and prosperous society for all is indeed in ascendancy. As President Akufo Addo has stated, the process of expansion of educational opportunity has to be the bedrock of educational policy in the 21st century for our nation if we are to make the rapid transformation of the social and economic lives